To this now, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa says the party's National Executive Committee had the most productive meeting ever. He was delivering the outcomes of the four-day gathering in Omonde in the south of Johannesburg. Ramaphosa touched on the state of the municipalities and the government of national unity.
The marching order to all ANC-run municipalities and ward councillors is that we cannot proceed as if it continues to be business as usual. We need to undertake extraordinary measures to address challenges at local government level. The NEC will be having a special session in a week or two to focus more attention on the challenges that we are facing in local government. Preparations for the local government election campaign are underway. In April, we held our election strategy workshop. Work is underway throughout the country to set up our election structures and appoint our election management. We call on all NEC members to ensure we give attention to the establishment of these election structures and ensure our most seasoned and experienced campaign managers are appointed to help with the campaign. The overall picture is that despite all the noise, through the GNU, we've been able to safeguard the core progressive policy agenda of the National Democratic Revolution, which is the core pillar of ANC policies. The NEC's view is that the tactic of the Government of National Unity has enabled the ANC to continue to execute its agenda for nation building and fundamental socio-economic transformation of South Africa, albeit under conditions imposed on us by the strategic electoral setback that we suffered last year in 2024. Both the strategic policy priorities and the budget point to the direction that we should support. In our assessment, we have concluded that the decision to establish the Government of National Unity was correct.
All right, for more on this now, we speak to political analyst Dr. Ongama Mtimka. Good evening to you and thank you so much for your time. Lots to talk about, but I want to start with his last part there when you were listening to him. He says that the GNU tactic, and I quote, has actually enabled the ANC to continue to extend its agenda. This might not bode well with some of the GNU partners because they have been saying it's a power sharing arrangement. It's not a one-party arrangement.
Yeah, so it has to be read in the context that it is being said in going into this NEC. There were some calls that were made to review the GNU. And there are concerns that are being raised by some within the ANC that this context of the Government of National Unity is reorienting the culture of the ANC when it comes to who gets to retain office, who gets to be kicked out of office. The removal of the recent cabinet ministers who fell from grace, for different reasons, has happened a lot faster than it would have been under ordinary circumstances. And then obviously there was that fallout about the budget and all of those things. So this must be read within the context of an ANC that is beginning that has had some of its members begin to raise questions about the strategic correctness of being in the GNU. And I think that other partners in the GNU have got to appreciate that each of them speak differently to their own internal constituencies about why they needed to be in the GNU.
And he speaks about local government, right? And he talks about the fact that they need the experienced campaign managers and all of that. But an interesting point he made earlier was around the branches. And he says that the ANC branch is not a new point he's making, that they remain the most important site of links with society, and that the party must ensure that it builds strong activist branches. There's been this focus over time on the ANC branches and the state thereof. Have things improved in your view?
There are huge discrepancies and a disjuncture between what the policy-making elite in the ANC aspire, for those branches, and what they get to be as a result of not, an opposite of elite interests, but a direct result of elite interests, that branches are deliberately kept to be voting fodder only. And outside of voting, these institutions or these most basic structures of the ANC cannot be anything else, because voting fodder needs you to create an army of yes men and women. The branches, as they envisage them, need you to attract robust intellectuals, critical thinkers who can, approach community issues from different angles. Those two imperatives are as far as the East and West. They cannot, the ANC elites acting inside the party machinery have not been able to pursue both the imperatives of building their own, controlled rank and file membership for purposes of winning conferences, and what the party needs when it comes to attracting the right caliber of people who can contribute and actually create the ANC branches and make them aspirational even by community standards. Many a councillor, Bongi, have said, for me to be chosen, it took this new innovation that the ANC did of opening up, securing ward office to the wider public. Otherwise, had it been for the the branch alone, the elites were choosing people who were not popular, who were not going to win the ANC wards, because those people didn't sing or dance to their tune. So these are antithetical imperatives. The interests of party big wigs and the interests of the party in terms of its success and sustainability are not in harmony.
And it's interesting that you raise that. I want to get to the SACP in just a moment, but there's something that you talk about, the party's bigwigs, right? And at the same time, this is a president of the ANC who was speaking about renewal once again, and the fact that they've reflected again on the current challenges and all of that. They went into this meeting with all these developments around the deputy president. How are you reading how they tackled it? Because Ramaphosa says that he must speak for himself, but how should they have dealt with it going into this? Has this been the correct approach?
The reality of the matter is that a realist reading of the ANC at the moment, there's nothing that the ANC as a party can do to a powerful politician like its deputy president. If any person who is going to trigger that action wants some degree of coherence and sustainability of the party. The same way that the party couldn't bring itself to disciplining some of its members who fell from grace, and in fact, some people critiquing the president for the recent actions that have been taken against some of the cabinet members. The ANC, in my view, has always been, especially in the last, say, 20 years, this organization where doing the right thing is a function of what political balance will be upset and what will not. So there is never going to be a time when the ANC, at least in the next 5 years, as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's still, this organization where vying for office has got a bigger consequence on the organization than retaining an organization that is sustainable, you're never going to find self-correction.
Before I let you go, when you speak about this political balance, right, there is now, of course, the SACP factor. And the ANC president speaks about it, and he says that they're not going to interfere with it, but they do not agree with an SACP that is going at it alone. It's been, an ongoing issue over time, with the SACP also, again, at the weekend, hitting hard at the ANC, saying that, accusing it of being arrogant and relegating its concerns to a permanent, discussion of no consequence. How are you watching this whole situation between the two unfold?
I must say I was pretty impressed by the messaging around this issue with the SACP. I think that the president or the NEC did not want to come across as combative, but at the same time saying a very loaded statement about members of the ANC who happen to also be members of the SACP know what the Constitution says about what the rights and responsibilities of membership are, as it is stated clearly. So I'm paraphrasing. And what I saw from that is firing of a salvo that says that whatever you do, you must be aware that we are an organization that's bound by a constitution, but not doing it so overtly that the SACP would read the message as saying they are going to be shown flames, to borrow the language of young people. So the ANC has thrown the ball back into the SACP's elitist court to say we are disagreeing. But we acknowledge that we have to send it back to you to say you must do the right thing. And I think that message for me was carefully controlled and strategically well communicated.
All right, thank you so much for your time. And let's see what happens then in the coming days, as they're now talking about the fact that they are looking at the local government elections and with speed there, with experienced people. But thank you so much. I appreciate your time. That was Dr. Ongama Mtimka, political analyst.